raisins. Welcome to Katie's Kitchen, where very interesting people drop by at unexpected times.
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Abigail.
She is actually from the, from the Iron Age, from the Davidic period. But we've been talking, and it's just been such a privilege to have you here, Abigail.
I've looked into mirrors before, my dear, but never one quite like this. Right, I'm sorry.
We decided to make a recipe that Abigail would make all the time, and that apparently King David liked, right? So we're gonna make raisin cakes.
Of all the strange things that have happened to me, I never thought that I would be here in, what year did you say? 2020, that's right. I don't even know how to understand that, but let's make some raisin cakes, shall we? Very good.
Abigail, tell us about the ingredients that you would normally use to make a raisin cake.
I should tip this down. Oh, right. There we are, our ingredients. Oh my, this is so fun. Oh, ha ha. All right. So we have flour. My goodness. How long, Katie, did it take you to make this flour? This is a good amount of flour. What you say, about 2 cups. Now, when I grew up in my village, all of us women would sit around in the courtyard on our grindstones, and we would grind all of the flour. Oh, it would take 4 or 5 hours, depending on how large your family was, to grind enough for the whole day. It is incredible to me that you go buy flour off the shelves of a market. Of course, now in my second household, we have plenty of flour. I didn't spend as much time grinding because we had lots of servants to help us with that.
So some of these ingredients you wouldn't have had back in your time. So this right here is baking soda, and then we also have baking powder. And they do look a little different, and I'll let you look at those. So the baking soda is it's basically a salt, and it has to be mixed with acid in order to be effective to cause some leavening. Not so with the baking powder. Interesting fact about baking powder. In 1856, there was this chemist named Eben Horsford. Is that right? Yeah, Eben Norton Horsford. Yes, I will happily let you play with the internet later. And so he created the first baking powder by boiling down animal bones to extract monocalcium phosphate. And that created an acid compound that could react with baking soda, which we already talked about, in order to create the CO2 bubbles. Since it was water activated, he decided to mix cornstarch with it so that would soak up the water, and then he could package those 2 products put together into a powder. So anyway, that is our baking soda and baking powder. What do you know?
And we have what you are talking about, our baking soda and our baking powder. You'll need a pinch of salt. Oh, you have salt. Now, what is this? Baja Gold Natural Sea Salt from the Sea of Cortez. Something miraculous about this time travel is that I'm amazingly able to read your language. This is fascinating. You say this is very good stuff, and it has minerals in it. Wonderful. All right. Well, so you'll need a pinch of salt. And then we also, of course, we have our raisins. 2 cups of raisins. And they came in this very interesting container. This is just amazing to me. Now, spices. We don't have these spices where I come from, but, well, we have them, but they're precious. All of you people, you don't understand how lucky you are. We have, what was this again? Nutmeg. Yes. Oh, and clove. Nutmeg and clove. Just about half a teaspoon of each. And then we have cinnamon. Oh, cinnamon. And I believe that's 2 teaspoons. Now, cinnamon, when Solomon, was gaining fame across the land, the Queen of Sheba came to visit because she'd heard all these rumors about his wisdom and his glory and the wealth of the kingdom, and she brought spices such as we had never seen. Cinnamon is, such a delight, and that was one of the many things she brought with her. Oh, you are so fortunate. Oh, right. Then we have sugar. Again, what a delight to have sugar. Normally we would not use sugar like this. It was date paste or honey. And we've used some honey because we didn't have enough to use the entire recipe just with honey. So we've put half a cup of honey with our oil, our olive oil, which was half a cup as well. All right. And if I've missaid anything, we'll put the notes for the recipe in the video notes. Right. Whatever that means.
What we're gonna do now is preheat the oven. Right. Wow, this is so crazy. So our oven is definitely different. It has a stove top, so I can cook things on top of it, but I can also put things inside of it, much like your ovens, right?
The one I grew up using, we called a Tannur. It's sort of a beehive shape, and we would put the fuel beneath it, and then we would smear the bread mixture on the inside walls to cook it that way. Well, how do you smear it? Well, you just sort of slap it in there. You don't want to burn your hand, of course. You just sort of slap it in. When the bread cools quite quickly, you peel it off and then you let it cool outside the oven.
Okay, so with the oven, we actually have to turn it on because it uses electricity. Right, we talked a little bit about it. It's really great. All I have to do is like press and click. So we just press bake. And then this has to be at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Boy, I don't know how you measure temperature. Okay, so bake, and then 350 is kind of its automatic setting. So it's going to take a while to heat up because my oven is not necessarily the best oven, but it's still pretty amazing. And then once it heats up, it'll make a noise, and then we can put it in.
Yes, I'll mix all of these things together. So our flour, and then our other dry ingredients. There's that, and our pinch of salt. Oh, I wish I could take some of this home with me. What a cute little spoon. I love it. All right, so we'll mix all of this together. And I don't know what you call this. It's fantastic. So first we're going to go to the stove, and we're going to boil our raisins and our spices.
And I'm just going to go ahead and put it kind of on a medium-high heat, and then we can turn it up if we need to get it boiling a little bit more.
So we want to add all of our wet ingredients. So you want me to put this down again? Oh, now will you look at that? This is going to be a treat. So you were saying to me that there's an illness, a plague going around right now. I'm so sorry to hear it. So I hope that something like this can bring you a little bite of joy while you all grieve in your various ways. Now this is looking beautiful. I think it's just about done. Oh, will you just look at that? Oh. All right. Now I'm going to make some space for it here. Ah. Oh, one little raisin doesn't want to go in. All right. All right, it's coming together, Katie, and it's about ready for us to make it into cakes now.
In our modern day recipe for raisin cakes, they recommend just using a pan, an 8 by 8 inch, and spraying it down so that it won't stick, or using parchment paper. You've probably never seen one of these. So it's just olive oil, but it's packaged in a way that you can just spray it out like this, and you take off the cap and you just go and it won't stick. But it's not necessarily very authentic to how you would have made them. So I think we should form them like you would have. Tell us a little bit of just a little bit about your life story and how raisin cakes might fit into it.
Well, sure. Well, you see, I married Nabal when I was 15. Really as soon as you start your show of blood, your parents choose someone for you, usually in the same village or a nearby village. So we were wed, and he was wealthy. I learned how to run a large household, and I was good at cooking, I will say that. So, anyway, years later, David was running from Saul, and he was in the desert of Paran where we lived. We had many shearers out with lots and lots of sheep, and they protected our workmen. So David sent some of his men to ask Nabal for some aid, and he refused, being the stubborn fool that he was. And David, in a rage, came with his men to attack the household. And they would have killed everyone, Katie, I have no doubt about that. So, one of the servants rushed to me. You see, really, I ran the household, but we won't get into that. He came and rushed to me and said, we have to do something. And so we gathered as much food as we could carry on the donkeys, and raisin cakes was one of the things we brought. It was quite a lot of food. David had probably about 400 men with him. And I brought it to him, and I got off the donkey, and I bowed before him, and I persuaded him not to attack. And it worked.
You literally stopped an entire massacre from happening, and partly because of the food you brought.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of marriage advice, my dear. You speak to the goodness of a man's heart. See, I had heard about David. I knew who he was, and I knew that the Lord had chosen him. And I just had to remind him of that. Sometimes we just have to remind people who they really are, and that they really don't want to do what they're about to do. And food can help win them over. So that's the story. How do you say, in a nutshell?
Oh my goodness, it smells so good.
All right, everyone, the oven just sounded an alarm, so we are going to get out our raisin cakes and try them. These things are amazing. All right, everyone, now we made ours in cookie form to be able to share with friends. They're a bit lumpy, but I promise you that won't change the flavor. This is incredible. If you don't have one of these, I think you should get one. No slapping of dough required. And they peel off great. Taste of home.
No, I like that. Well, Abigail, it has been an honor, and I want you to know you are welcome to come back anytime, and you can stay for as long as you want.
Well, my dear, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you for baking with me and talking with me. Well, I think I'm going to lie down and take a nap. All right. Now, I hope your husband likes these, and to all of your friends, I hope you enjoy them as well and share them, and may the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you in this very challenging time. All right. Bye now.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed learning about raisin cakes, and maybe try it yourself. And hey, if you like this and you want to leave a comment, feel free. Share it if you want. And let me know if there's anything else you'd be curious for me to try out in the kitchen. Bye, everybody.